Greetings everyone, Slizzle466 here, and in today's video we're looking at some of the best United in Stormwind wild decks to climb with. We start off with Odd Demon Hunter. This is pretty similar to the Odd Demon Hunter builds we've seen in the past, however there is one new card in here, Sigil of Alacrity. At the start of your next turn, draw a card and reduce its cost by 1. Just gives you a little bit of cycle mana cheat for your Odd Demon Hunter lists. Looking at Druid, we have Aggro Druid. Again, very similar to the Aggro Druids we saw before. However, we do have the inclusion of Sow the Soil. So in this case, you're giving your minions +1 attack or summoning a 2/2 Treant. So sometimes you might want to develop board, other times you want to just make it stronger. You got Vibrant Squirrel. Shuffle 4 acorns into your deck. When drawn, get 2/1 squirrels. That's the death rattle for this card. It's a cute little card to have in the deck. You've also got Composting, which is actually really strong. Give your minions death rattle, draw a card. So this is being run as an alternative to Voracious Reader. You've also got Peasant. At the start of your turn, draw a card. It's 1 mana 2/1. Sure, it's easy to kill, but it's still something that has to be killed. So Aggro Druid definitely got a lot of stuff to play with from the Stormwind expansion. Moving to Hunter, Odd Questline Hunter. This deck, really strong. I need to craft Defend the Dwarven District as soon as possible. But basically, as you progress through the quests, your hero power can target, it becomes 0 cost, and then it can refresh upon playing spells. So, because of that, it's a very aggressive list, pumps out a ton of damage. As you can see, the curve on this deck's insane, but it's very strong, and it's also very good against Questline Warlock, which is one of the decks to beat right now. Looking at Mage, we have a new archetype, Ignite Mage. So this is an Exodia style Mage, similar to Mozaki Mage, where you're discounting your deck, you're drawing through it as quickly as you can. But now, because of Ignite, Ignite is a 2 mana spell, deal 2 damage, shuffle an Ignite into your deck that deals 1 more damage. So basically what you want to do is you want to have your apprentices out, you could have your lunar out, and if you are fast enough, you can in fact do infinite damage because you're cycling these into your deck and pulling them back out again. Just very powerful deck. Will it stick around? We'll see. But definitely a deck to try out for yourself. Next up we have Secret Mage. There's nothing new here. It's still a really good deck, but Stormwind didn't provide anything to help the archetype. Same deal with Mozaki Mage. There are no new cards in this list. It's just a solid list. And if you want to kill people efficiently, this is a good deck to do that. Looking at Paladin, we have Handbuff Paladin. So this is Bodybuilder's latest build. It's running some new stuff. For example, Alliance Bannerman. Alliance Bannerman is a 3 mana 2/2 Battlecry, destroy a minion. Give minions in your hand +1/+1, so another way to hand buff. You'll notice that Bodybuilder is still running Grime Street Outfitter and still running Smuggler's Run, so it's just another way to buff your hand even more. It's also running Battleground Battlemaster, and this card is absolutely insane. 5 mana 5/5 adjacent minions have Wind Fury. Considering the size of some of those minions you have on the board, you can just get lethal out of nowhere. Incredible card. Next we have Odd Paladin. There is nothing special about Odd Paladin, nothing really new to include in it. It's just a really good deck. Tax Paladin. People are playing Tax Paladin to target the Questline Warlocks, and to my knowledge, I don't believe there are any new cards in this list. No, I don't see any, but again, it's just a really good deck, and it's specifically being played to target Questline Warlocks. Looking at Priest, we start with Shadow Priest. So this is an aggro priest, which has become very strong in the wild meta. The reason it is so strong is because of a couple key cards, one of those being Dark Bishop Benedictus, 5 mana 5/6, start of game. If the spells in your deck are all shadow, enter shadow form. So essentially your hero power becomes a targetable 2 damage for 2 mana. You've also got Void Touched Attendant, 1 mana 1/3. Both heroes take 1 extra damage from all sources. So this is your hero power, spells, your minions on the board. It can produce a ridiculous amount of extra damage out of nowhere for 1 mana. Very, very strong. As for this deck, why is it doing so well? Well, it does very well against Questline Warlock, which is, again, one of the decks to beat right now. It's also running Shadowcloth Needle. After you cast a shadow spell, deal 1 damage to all enemies. So again, just a little bit more chip damage, which is quite good. And I believe this is a new card as well. Twilight Deceptor, 2 mana 2/3, Battlecry. If any hero took damage this turn, draw a shadow spell. So just more ways to cycle through your deck. Looking at Reno Priest, I am aware that people have been experimenting with Reno Priest running new cards, but unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your opinion, Reno Priest is in a really bad spot right now, mainly because of Questline Warlock. So if you're going to play Reno Priest, I would probably just play a refined list that doesn't run any new cards, because I've tried playing around with new cards and it just dies so poorly to Questline Warlock. It doesn't really matter how you build it. It's kind of sad, but that's how it is. Big Priest. So if you like to play Big Priest, again, this is one of these lists that just is around forever. It's not running any new cards. It's pretty awful against Questline Warlock, but if you really want to play Big Priest, there you go. Looking at Rogue, we've got Kingsbane Rogue. The only new card being run in this specific list is the Maestra of the Masquerade. This is a pretty cute card. It's a 2 mana 3/2. You start the game as a different class until you play a Rogue card. So basically it makes your opponent mulligan incorrectly against you. It does use the portraits that you've got selected by default, so there's nothing to give away based on the portrait that you're actually a rogue. And also keep in mind you can use the hero power of that class you are until you play a rogue card. So it's just a nice little inclusion. Otherwise, it's Kingsbane Rogue, very strong deck. Looking at Shaman, we've got Murloc Shaman. Nothing special here, no new cards, but it does beat down decks pretty quickly. Next we have Reno Shaman. So this is a Reno Questline Shaman, so it's running Command the Elements. This has various effects based on playing cards with Overload. As you can see, I haven't played this deck myself, so I don't want to say too much about it because I'm not experienced enough with it. But White Delight is one of the best Reno Shaman players and deck builders out there. So if you want to give this list a spin, it's been well refined. It hit high legend. As you can see, it's a little bit more of an aggressive build with a bit of a lower curve, but definitely a deck to try out. Moving on to Warlock, and here's where the fun begins. Okay, we begin with Darkglare Warlock. Darkglare Warlock got new tools, believe it or not. One of those tools being Touch of the Nathrazim. 1 mana, deal 2 damage to a minion. If it dies, restore 4 health to your hero. This is great for your Flesh Giant. It's great if you're just close to dying and you want a little bit of extra heal. You've also got your Runed Mithril Rod. This card is absolutely ridiculous. After you draw 4 cards, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. Lose 1 durability. Keep in mind, at the start of your turn, that counts as one of the discounts. So you could play this on turn 3. The following turn, you draw a card on turn 4. You can play Backfire to draw 3 cards, take 3 damage, and then your entire hand gets discounted. A lot of the time, you can then play out most of your hand again, discount it a second time. It's just a very ridiculous card and very fun. The other new card in here is the Battleground Battlemaster. This is the same one that was used in Handbuff Paladin. Considering you've got multiple 8/8s on your board, having those 8/8s do 16 damage instead just gives you an OTK for 5 mana if you've got 2 giants on the board. Pretty ridiculous. We've got Cute Warlock. Again, this is a deck being played to target Questline Warlock. There's nothing new in it. It's just very strong at making crazy boards and doing tons of damage out of nowhere. We've got Reno Warlock. So again, I haven't tested this list myself, so I don't want to say a whole lot about it, but I will say that this is one of the only Reno Warlock lists that I found while searching around online. The only new card being run in this list is Entitled Customer. 6 mana 3/2 Battlecry, deal damage equal to your hand size to all other minions. Considering in Reno Luck you've got a lot of cards in your hand, you might get lower thebbed and still want to clear the board. Entitled Customer gets around that. Otherwise, it's a pretty ordinary build, nothing too fancy about it, but if you like to play Reno Luck, this would be my go-to list. And without further ado, we have Questline Warlock, the deck that's making people go crazy in the current wild meta. For those of you who aren't familiar with how the quest line works, it's the Demon Seed. The first quest line is you take 6 damage on your turns. Your reward is a lifesteal of 3 damage to the enemy hero. The next quest line is to do 7 damage. The one after that is to do 8. And then your reward for that third quest line is Blightborn Tamsin. Battlecry for the rest of the game. Damage you take on your turn damages your opponent instead. This questline is ridiculously easy to complete because of the tools that Warlock has, as well as some neutrals. Some of those, one of the big enablers is the Crystallizer, which deals 5 damage, which almost completes one of the quest lines on the spot. You've got Dark Glare to refresh mana crystals. So this is also a Dark Glare list, but it's more based around the quest line than the previous list. But basically the quest lines get done really, really quickly. And then there are different versions of these lists floating around. Some of them run the, the Unlicensed Apothecary, I believe it's called. Where is it? Right here. Some lists run this. This specific list doesn't. This list goes for more giants instead, and going for the Battle Master. So that's one way to do it. The other way is to do the Apothecary. Either way, it's ridiculously strong, and it's probably one of the best decks in the current meta, and it's being targeted pretty hard. And last but not least, we have Poor Little Warrior sitting at the end here. We've got Pirate Warrior. So there are 2 different versions of Pirate Warrior floating around. There's the version with the quest line and the versions without. I prefer the versions without the quest line because as an aggro deck, I want to play a minion on turn 1. I don't want to play a quest line. So as for new cards, though, in this list, you do have the Harbor Scamp, 2 mana 2/2 Pirate, Battlecry, draw a Pirate, which is pretty good. But otherwise, this is just the same Pirate Warrior list that we had before, and it's very strong at killing your opponent. And last but not least, we have Odd Warrior. No new cards being run in here. It's also not the best deck to be playing in the current meta, but if you really want to play Odd Warrior, this would be one of the best ways to do so. If you want to try any of these deck codes for yourself, you'll find the deck codes in the description below. And if you're a mobile user and you have trouble copying those deck codes, there is an easy to type link to my Discord. You can join the Discord, visit the Deck Lists Only channel, and you'll find all the deck codes in there. I want to thank you for watching this video. If you want to help support the channel, you can click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and until next time, hope to see you again.